Barbarian and a flake, and then imposes U.S. sanctions against Libya. We'll tell you what they are, and we'll have reaction live via News Star 5 from Washington.
I'm Bob Vernon. Residents of Delano, Minnesota fear more lives will be taken at a railroad crossing they say is extremely dangerous. They're fighting to do something about it.
I'm Debbie Ann Bloom, and this is the eve of the John Beargrease sled dog race. Tomorrow, the mushers and the dogs will be running. I'll have a live News Star report here from Duluth. This and much more next on this special edition of the Eyewitness News Update.
Now, the team that covers the Twin Cities and all of Minnesota brings you the latest news tonight. This is the Eyewitness News Update.
Tonight, President Reagan tells reporters and the nation that Libyan leader Moammar Gadhafi was involved in the massacres at Rome and Vienna airports. So what's the United States going to do about it?
I signed today an executive order stating that the policies and actions of the government of Libya constitute a threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Congress has been notified of my decision. Under the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, I've taken measures to end virtually all direct economic activities between the United States or U.S. nationals and Libya.
Hello again, I'm Bob Vernon, along with Cyndy Brucato, and at the top tonight, U.S. sanctions against what the president called an outlaw regime.
And Bob, here are the specifics. The president has ordered all Americans and American companies to halt doing business with Libya. Mr. Reagan threatened to prosecute any American who does do business with Libya. And he ordered all Americans, some 1,500 of them, to leave Libya. That means anyone other than a journalist who remains in Libya and buys or sells anything at all could face up to 10 years in prison and cash fines.
Let the government of Libya understand that it is fully responsible for the welfare of those Americans still in Libya, and that Libya will be held accountable for any attempt to harm them or restrict their freedom to depart.
As for threats by Gadhafi of possible terrorist attacks in the U.S., the president said those threats are being taken quite seriously.
How can you not take seriously a man that has proven that he is as irrational as he is in things of this kind? I find he's not only a barbarian, but he's flaky.
The president also called on America's allies to cooperate in isolating Gadhafi. He said if further steps need to be taken, they will be. But the president would not say if he meant military action to punish Libya for its involvement in world terrorism. Bob?
Well, Libya was the main topic of the news conference, and joining us now live via News Star 5 from Washington, D.C., Minnesota Congressman Martin Sabo with some reaction to the president's remarks. Congressman, do you feel that the president took appropriate action tonight?
Well, it may reflect the options he had. I think it's fair to say that what he proposed this evening is going to have limited impact on Libya. For sanctions to work, our European allies have to cooperate.
Do you think that they will, Congressman?
I don't know. Their history has been that they don't. And I think it's incumbent on the president, if he has the evidence on Libya, that he present it to our European allies and press them hard to join us in the economic boycott.
Okay, well, how about the American companies and the American workers who are in Libya? They've really shown no inclination to leave before. Will they now?
Well, I expect they will, or most of them will. We currently have sanctions, and the fact is we have very little economic endeavor with Libya today, so our sanctions will have a negligible impact on Libya and should not have any substantial impact on American economic interests.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, Congressman. Also at the press conference, the president was asked about replacing outgoing Agriculture Secretary John Block.
That's right, and for that, he didn't have an answer. Block announced his resignation today after almost 5 years in the cabinet. Block said he'll leave next month, and he said that the beleaguered farm economy is getting better.
These have been stressful times for our farmers. I do believe we're starting to turn the corner. We'll see better times ahead.
Block's announcement today came less than a day after he said on TV that he wouldn't leave anytime soon. One of Secretary Block's most vocal critics has been Minnesota's Agriculture Secretary Jim Nichols. But Nichols told government specialist Lindsey Strand this afternoon that he does not think a successor will improve the farm policy.
As a secretary, he's a complete failure, but I think he largely carried out the president's wishes. And when I look at the list of successors, I think John Block was probably better than what we got coming.
And sources on Capitol Hill say Block's successor will come from within the department. Cindy?
In other news tonight, second-degree murder charges filed today against a rural Cannon Falls man for the bludgeoning death of another man. However, authorities still haven't located the suspect, William Edward Dibble. Dibble is accused of killing Gary Ruza of Rush City. Dibble is 39 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall, with brown hair and a mustache. Authorities say Dibble waited inside a house in Inver Grove Heights for Ruza and the woman who lived there. Dibble is also charged with second-degree assault for allegedly threatening the woman with a knife.
All three of the individuals involved knew each other, and we're assuming it's jealousy at this point.
Authorities say Dibble may be driving a 1972 green Ford pickup or a 1973 Mercury. He's an over-the-road trucker who authorities say could be anywhere. Also today, a former St. Paul police officer pleaded guilty to 1 count of possession of methamphetamines. In a plea bargain arrangement, 3 other charges against Calvin Ross were dropped. Ross was sentenced to 3 years probation, 3 years in chemical dependency treatment, and ordered to perform 100 hours of community service. Bob?
A South Minneapolis family escaped injury this afternoon when fire forced them out into the bitter cold. The fire broke out shortly after noon inside the 2-story home at 5600 Wentworth Avenue South. And by the time the firefighters arrived, flames were already shooting through the roof of the home. The owners of the house say the fire was started by a discarded cigarette.
And I grabbed an ashtray to dump, and I had the cigarette in my hand, felt the ashtray, and dumped it, and cut the shear in the bedroom as I was dumping it, and boom, it went.
The home was heavily damaged by flames and smoke. However, it is covered by insurance. 1 year ago, the town of Delano was asking for safety changes at a railroad crossing where 4 people were killed as their van crossed the tracks. There has been no changes yet, and as Pat Milan learned today, no changes even in the works for what some people consider a very dangerous situation.
In the past year, many people in rural Delano, Minnesota, have pushed to get the railroad crossing at 3rd Street moved to the east side of town. The crossing sits atop a steep hill, and for some reason, a lot of drivers go right through the intersection without looking both ways to check if a train is coming. 1 year ago, the most serious accident took the lives of 4 elderly women. The senior citizens van they were riding in was clipped from behind and dragged by the train. There was a call for a new warning signal and cross gates to help protect motorists, but the call turned to whispers, and now no one talks about it at all. But you don't think it's a safety problem?
Well, no, not if you look. What? Those people that got hit, look how far you can look up there.
Quite a ways.
Yes. Oh, I would say about 4 blocks. You can see them coming.
But Delano's city council sent their city administrator to ask Wright County to move the crossing anyway. The businesses that rely on the crossing disagreed with any idea about closing the 3rd Street intersection. Now there is a question as to whether anything will be done at all.
I don't know. It's really up to the people and the council. Council is trying to do its best, but they certainly need some support from the residents, if they want to get something done. If 250 people, as I mentioned, they're opposing, and there's nobody coming forward to get this done, the council is not going to do that, certainly.
You'll get an argument around town as to whether it's politics or an attitude that have kept anything from changing at this railroad crossing in Delano. Or whatever it is, it has delayed things for over a year. And as it stands tonight, nothing's going to happen anytime soon. In Delano, I'm Pat Milan, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Let us give you some news from around the world tonight, where an explosion and a fire shut down Highway 101 near the San Francisco International Airport.
That's right, Cindy. A tanker truck loaded with 8,800 gallons of gasoline jackknifed and began burning just before 6 a.m. The accident clogged rush hour traffic for hours and interfered with flight schedules as well. Smoke from the blaze could be seen for miles, and the stream of burning fuel melted a strip of pavement that was 6 lanes wide.
Near the border of France and West Germany today, 2 people were killed when 2 U.S. Air Force jet fighters collided. One of the pilots and a West German man on the ground were killed in the crash. 4 other civilians were injured when debris from one of the planes fell into a row of houses, setting 3 buildings ablaze. Authorities evacuated 150 residents from the West German town of Rimschweiler when it was feared that the ammunition in the wreckage would explode. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. Meanwhile, today in Hanoi, Foreign Minister Nguyen Co Thach promised that he would try to resolve the question of American servicemen missing in action. Nguyen told Assistant Secretary of Defense Richard Armitage that no Americans are being held against their will in Vietnam and that he will look into any reports to the contrary. He said he'd hope to have action within 2 years on the subject. And in Cape Canaveral, the space shuttle Columbia remained on its launch pad today. Its return to space delayed for a 5th time because of the weather. The countdown was halted at the T-9 mark due to rain in Florida and poor visibility at 2 emergency landing sites overseas. NASA officials say they're going to try again on Thursday.
And Cyndy, the John Beargrease gang is trying it again, too. They're talking about that longest dog sled race around.
And we will have a live report on it via News Star 5 from the starting point of the race next.
American Motors thinks you've earned a holiday bonus. Buy a new Renault Alliance sedan, convertible, or Encore hatchback and get a check from the factory for up to $700, which may be used for a down payment. And now there are factory-to-dealer incentives on new 2- and 4-wheel drive Jeep Comanche, Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and Eagle. Holiday bonus from American Motors. Check it out at your Renault Jeep dealer.
Get your holiday bonus today at your Twin Cities AMC Jeep Renault dealer.
Let's talk sports.
Talk with up to 9 other sports fans at once. Call Gab Sports from Northwestern Bell.
What a great call.
This is Steve Edelman.
And Sharon Anderson.
On The Next Good Company here in our studio, meet Olympic gold medal gymnast Bart Connor.
And field host Gary Lumpkin looks at the latest exercise fad for women called jarming.
And we'll have a fashion show of the latest in cruise wear for 1986. Join us at 3 for Good Company.
People reading art paper are talking.
It's not just the art itself that's important. It's the art of talking about it.
What makes a good painting? What makes a good article?
I'm always happy to see someone demystify our patent assumptions about objectivity in visual art.
I demand aesthetic justice in a world where justice is absent.
What we need is more first-rate art.
Criticism, opinions, galleries, events. Art paper at newsstands and bookstores.
Now, you have your Super Bowl and you have your World Series, but to a lot of people, really, this is true, the big sporting event of the year is the John Beargrease sled dog race.
That's right. It's one of the longest races of its kind, and tonight it's the subject of our special assignment series. Reporter Debbie Enblum is standing by live via News Star 5 from Duluth, and she has the details. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Cyndy. The Beargrease Sled Dog headquarters is here at the Holiday Inn Hotel in Duluth, and I'm right sitting on the grounds of it. Inside, all the mushers are preparing and getting ready because tomorrow is the big night. Well, outside is where all of the dogs are hanging out in their special trucks. Now, this is their last night before hitting the trail when the race begins tomorrow night. Now, this is the 3rd annual John Beargrease Marathon. It's going to run from Duluth to Grand Marais and back to Duluth again, and that's about 400 miles. Now, the race for some 32 mushers and their dog teams is a grueling, humbling challenge. Those who finished it will tell you the marathon is for the brave of heart and strong of mind. It's for the man or woman able to keep going when their body aches and they're practically asleep on their feet. But mushers and their dogs are absolutely set on winning and keeping the pace, and that is exactly what Arlie Jorgensen is gearing up to do, and he's joining us tonight with 2 of his beautiful dogs. Arlie, you're from Grand Marais. How long have you been a musher?
15 years.
And you must be so psyched to race. Are you ready to go tomorrow?
I'm getting ready to go.
Now, you guys have trained these dogs for how long? Just give us a quick rundown of some of the things that you need to do to get them ready.
We figure that the team must run 1,000 miles before the race. It's sort of an arbitrary figure. It doesn't really matter how far exactly, but figure 1,000 miles. And that starts with runs in October when it begins to cool off of 10 to 15 miles. And then we get up to 40, 50, 65-mile runs towards the end.
You were telling me that there are people, that the top mushers in the world are here, ready to race tomorrow.
This will be the most competitive long-distance race, second only probably to the Iditarod that occurs in March in Alaska. The top teams are here from the Iditarod.
There's a lot of competition between the local folks and Alaskans. Who's going to win?
Well, I think the Alaskans can run with us. I don't know. I couldn't be. I think we can. I think we are in the same league with them, but we haven't had the opportunity to showcase it.
And I think that there's a lot of pride that I'm sensing tonight. We wish all of you the very safest and the very best of luck.
Well, thank you very much.
We'll be watching. And with that, we take it back to you, Bob and Cyndy.
Hearing a little doggy serenade in the background. Thanks, Debbie. Well, another Minnesota venture is making national headlines, and we'll take 5 later to tell you what that's all about.
But next, an old friend lights up in downtown Minneapolis, and Dennis Veltkin will lighten things up with a warmer forecast, we hope.
What is team spirit? It's the drive that takes Angela Astor to the stories you want to see every day. Angela Astor brings her own special style to Eyewitness News every weekend. Angela Astor. Another reason to turn to the people who deliver the news and a little bit more every day and every night. That's team spirit.
Catch the new team spirit. Watch the new team spirit. Channel 5.
In the beginning, there was Red.
You'll never be able to forget it.
I'm old. I forget everything.
Now Red is back, and he's running the show.
You're supposed to say, good morning, Mr. Hughes. Thanks for not firing me, Mr. Hughes.
He's helping street kids help themselves.
Lenny, the subway mugger. Now he owns his own stereo store.
Yeah, what about Phil? He's in jail for robbing Lenny.
It's the premiere of the Red Fox Show.
The U.S. Army is at war.
I hate guns.
With Private Benjamin, and neither side will surrender.
I refuse to quit.
General, do you believe in retreat?
Never.
And it's a battle to the finish.
The eagle has landed.
With Private Benjamin.
Fridays at 7:30 here on Channel 5.
This is the seal of the American Meteorological Society, the AMS. What does this seal mean to you? It means years of study and weather experience, and that's not enough, because you still have to take the toughest test of all, prepared and given by people who know more about the weather than anyone. If you can pass this test, we'll let you display this seal. If you can't, we won't. Your AMS weathercaster. You've never seen better weather.
These frigid January temperatures do bring about one bright spot, the Fauché Tower in downtown Minneapolis. Every year at this time, building managers think we need a lift, so they turn the Fauché's bright lights to warm us up. And they're right, we do need a lift from the cold. Maybe if other building managers would light up their buildings as well, we could melt away some of this ice or snow, or maybe just forget about it, get our minds off it.
A little help from nature wouldn't hurt either.
We can hardly forget about it when he's bringing it inside.
Did you ever wonder what weathermen do while Cyndy and I work our fingers to the bone putting together a newscast?
We build snowmen. Now, this is a quick quiz, but you have to think about this. What does this snowman and this glass of water have in common for this weekend?
For this weekend?
For this weekend.
One's going to turn into the other.
Very good.
Oh,
That's exactly it. 25 trivia points go to Cyndy. There's a big warming trend on the way for the week. In fact, look at the temperatures next week. If you've got airline tickets for places like Dallas, Orlando, Miami, well, it's going to be kind of cold down there. Temperatures are expected to average out well below normal in that part of the country, but from the Carolinas northward back to the west, temperatures 5 to 10 degrees above normal. And look at this, much above normal, 10 to 20 degrees above normal from Montana all the way near the Twin Cities. And that could mean temperatures near the 40-degree mark, possibly as early as this weekend. But right now, it's cold, at least across Minnesota. As of 10 o'clock, readings are still below zero, 9 below in Duluth, 12 below in the Twin Cities, 16 below in Rochester. But look out to the west. Temperatures are above zero. It's already 12 above at Huron, and that warm air is working its way towards us. Right now in the Twin Cities, officially at 10 o'clock, it is 12 below. Dew point is 17 below. Humidity 78%. The wind is blowing from the southeast at 8. Not much, but the wind chill's 31 below. Pressure is way up there and starting to fall, and skies are partly cloudy. In the almanac, the high today stayed below zero, 2 below. The overnight low is 15 below. Both of those way out of line for this time in January, and no snowfall for today. You know, the air is actually warmer a few thousand feet up than it is on the ground right now. On the ground, we said we're sitting at 12 degrees below zero, but a few thousand feet up, it's 12 degrees above zero. That's called an inversion, and the result is haze. Usually more typical of summer, but it happens in winter, and it was certainly evident today in the Twin Cities. This view from our Skycam helicopter is proof that despite the sunny skies, it wasn't clear. Now, things should improve as we start to warm up tomorrow and the winds pick up. The weather map right now shows the core of Arctic air just to the southeast of us and moving on out, and here's a big warm front out to the west, and temperatures are markedly warmer behind it. In fact, highs today show readings staying below zero across Minnesota, but out to the west, readings in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. In fact, a couple of records along the Oregon coastline, and that warm air is moving towards us. But usually when warm air collides with cold air, there's some clouds and flurries breaking out, and tonight's no exception. The satellite sequence shows a deck of clouds rolling in from the Dakotas, and they're just about on the doorstep of the Twin Cities. So when you wake up tomorrow, there'll be a few clouds around, maybe a few snowflakes, but also some warmer air moving in. The weather map for tomorrow shows the clouds hanging across us as the warm front approaches us. As I said, there may be a few snowflakes in the air from it. Maybe some sunshine in between the clouds, especially in the afternoon. Temperatures warming into the 20s. However, there's a fly in the ointment. The air is really coming in fast, so it won't feel like it's in the 20s. It's going to be rather windy. Wind chills tomorrow in the 0 to 10 below range, but we stand a chance of getting above the thawing point come Thursday. Tonight, though, we're looking for the clouds building up, maybe a few flurries later tonight. Temperatures rising to the single digits by the time you go to work in the morning with the south wind. And for tomorrow, some morning flurries, windy and warmer, highs of 19 to 24, but it won't feel like it because of that strong wind. Tomorrow night and into Thursday, partly cloudy, much warmer, lows of 16 to 22 above, highs Thursday, 34 to near 40. And looking ahead, partly cloudy skies into Sunday, maybe a flurry Friday. Temperatures may cool off a little bit on Friday, but again, could approach 40 again over the weekend. And that is our January thaw. Sorry, Mr. Snowman, for a few weeks anyway.
Okay. And more hot news tonight. It happened again on Wall Street. Last month, the stock market finished above the 1,500 mark for the first time in history. And today, another record. The Dow Jones Industrial shot up more than 18 points to finish over 1,565. And now analysts are believing it could pass the 1,600 mark before too long.
And still ahead, the off-season is anything but time off for some of the Twins.
And a former New York Islander leads the North Stars to a win on the island tonight. Bob Bruce has the highlights and more next on Eyewitness Sports.
This is the house that will be a home. Cook the meals, sleep the people, and dry the tears.
This is Potter's House, a nonprofit home away from home for organ transplant families. Here, families can face the drama of a transplant and share with others who understand.
The organ transplant program needs Potter's House, and Potter's House needs you. Please call the Children's Transplant Association at 373-9949.
Working together to help save lives, that's team spirit.
Coming in February, Danielle Steele's best-selling story, Crossings. Cheryl Ladd, Jane Seymour, Lee Horsley, and Christopher Plummer in Crossings.
Coming soon to ABC.
Hello, Mr. President. Nice to hear from you, sir. No, this is Mayor Burke, not Mayor Bradley.
Have you seen this morning's political cartoon?
Are you kidding? I posed for that. No. Yeah. No. Yeah.
He's the mayor.
Coming in February, Danielle Steele's best-selling story, Crossings. Cheryl Ladd, Jane Seymour, Lee Horsley, and Christopher Plummer in Crossings.
You know what? I love when the North Stars get hot this time of year. It gives everybody something to look forward to.
This time of year, it's been a while since they've been hot, I'll tell you. They were so cold at the beginning of the year. It was unbelievable. But Mats Helin picked a terrific time to score his first goal as a North Star. Helin came to the Stars, of course, in a trade with the New York Islanders, and tonight he went back to the island and got the game winner as the Stars beat the Islanders 3-2. The Stars took the lead early in the first period. Kurt Giles looking for a rebound, and he will knock it in. And just like that, the score was 1-0. But the Islanders came right back on the power play. It's Mike Bossy, boy, I'll tell you, the great one himself. You know, they may call Gretzky great, but Bossy's right up there. Rifles it past John Casey to tie it at 1. Second period, this time around it's Scotty Bustad, but watch what happens. I mean, I could almost put this puck in. Almost, folks. I could almost put that puck in. Well, the Stars went up 2-1. Islanders tied it again, but Helin became the hero early in the third period. Ed Hospodar centers it, and Helin tips in the game winner. The Stars have now won 6 of their last 7. Again, they beat the Islanders tonight 3-2. Amazing. Other scores: Quebec over St. Louis 7-4. Washington beat Detroit in the third. Vancouver and Winnipeg all tied up in the second. Hartford leading Calgary 5-1. Baseball now. The trade stayed on the back burner when the Twins were at the winter meetings in December. You remember that. Very slow. But today, they did cook up an off-season deal with Cleveland. Goes like this. The Twins give up pitchers Ken Strom and Brian Elkers in exchange for pitchers Roy Smith and Raymond Romero. Not exactly a big deal, but the Twins did part with Shrami, who's been part of their starting rotation since 1983. That season, he was the ace of the staff with 15 wins, but look at the stats. Since then, Kinney has been hot and cold, mostly cold, and that's why he's on the move. Elkers, meanwhile, was the Twins' first-round draft choice in 1982. Sad but true, that year he was drafted ahead of the Mets' Dwight Gooden. Brian signed a big bonus with the Twins, but he was 0-5 in Minnesota, and he spent the last 2 seasons in the minor leagues. On the receiving end, Smith is a 24-year-old right-hander who was 10-4 in AAA ball, but just 1-4 in Cleveland. Of course, some people say Cleveland is AAA ball. Anyway, Romero is 26 years old. He's a lefty who also put up some spotty numbers with the Indians. He was 2-3 with an earned run average of 6.58. Certainly that trade alone won't make the Twins a pennant contender in 1986, not by a long shot. Instead, the Twins will need better play from their veterans if they hope to make a run at the Western Division title. And for that reason, many of those players are already shaping up for the upcoming season. We get that story tonight from Channel 5's Rob Lear.
Baseball's off-season has taken on a whole new meaning this year for some members of the Minnesota Twins.
Some of us guys aren't getting any younger, and it keeps getting harder and harder to get in shape, and we're fortunate to have the use of a facility like this to stay in shape.
Catcher Tim Laudner and outfielder Tom Bernansky are 2 of a dozen Twins who are spending their winter working out 3 times a week at the University of Minnesota with the assistant of weight coach Bob Rohde.
Big thing we work on is leg strength and hip strength because so much of their power and their swing comes through it. And work a little bit on forearms and general flexibility and applying their new strength that they have to the skills that they have on the field.
The workouts are not restricted to just the weight room. It's essential they get some throwing in, too.
If you stay idle in the off-season, especially in the winters here when it's kind of tough to get out and do things, you're going to come in overweight and you're not going to be ready for the start of the season. But if you come in here and work hard, and you'll be in tip-top shape by the time season starts, and more or less that's where the pennants are won in the first couple months of the season.
1985 was a year of bitter disappointment for the Twins, but judging from the winter weight training programs already in progress, by the time they check in back here at the Metrodome, they'll be prepared to flex their muscles for the long season ahead. In Minneapolis, I'm Rob Lear for Channel 5, Eyewitness Sports.
Well, the work has begun for the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Jerry Burns had planned to be on vacation. in Jamaica today. Not a bad idea, but instead he was settling into his new job at the Viking complex in Eden Prairie. Burnsley did have a 2-hour meeting with general manager Mike Lynn, but he spent most of the day on the telephone. Jerry talked to a lot of the folks who just wanted to say congratulations, but some of the calls were business-related. Burnsley plans to add 2 members to his coaching staff, including, of course, a new offensive coordinator, and he did talk to some prospective coaches this afternoon. The assistants who are already on board are all on vacation, so Burns won't hold his first staff meeting for about another week or so, so it'll be a while, but I'd rather be in Jamaica.
By the way, I don't think they give you the point for that goal that the North Stars made, but possibly win a point for your remark about
even
Cleveland.
Dennis Falcon could have put that puck in.
No way.
No. Now we got a question for you.
Okay.
A little less controversial. What promises to be a warming sight for the cold days and nights ahead?
Couple hints. It's tall. It'll be in St. Paul, and today it made the Wall Street Journal. We'll take 5 for an answer.
No story is as dramatic as the true story. No character is as compelling as the real person. 2020 and the people of ABC News bring you true stories. Stories which intimately affect us, touch us all. 2020, the real stories told by the people truly involved, the people living them.
2020, Thursdays, followed by the Eyewitness News Update at 10 on Channel 5. We're in touch, so you be in touch.
Perfect Match, the show that peeks into the private lives of husbands and wives.
On our first date, he tried to get fresh under the blanket.
Nobody holds back as couples bet money.
How about 125?
125?
Trying for that perfect match.
No secret? To me it is.
What are you talking about?
The bedroom?
Perfect Match, where it pays to know your partner.
Weekday mornings at 10, premiering Monday right here on Channel 5.
Hi, I'm Joe Farrago. What a week we've got for you on Break the Bank. Here's a little preview. One show features a nautical theme designed to challenge our championship team. Fred Travellino makes quite an impression. He's not quite himself, if you'll excuse the expression. W.C. Fields will stop by for a while. To prove a good laugh never goes out of style. Our champion takes a turn as a newscaster. As the clock ticks away, he'll go faster and faster. So join me this week on Break the Bank. It just won't be the same without you.
Weekday mornings at 10:30 on Channel 5.
Today's Wall Street Journal said it should be quite splendid, a soaring temple erected to appease the gods of wind chill and of numb toes and dead batteries. We're talking about the Ice Palace on Lake Phelan. It's attracting national attention. The construction began in earnest today on the 15-story structure. We have more now from reporter Greg Stone.
One of the managers said today's sub-zero temperatures weren't too hard on the men, but they were hard on the ice, since the frigid water fills up the cracks and freezes more quickly. So they have to saw all over again. Filling the cracks with snow will take care of that. And there are other problems as well. The ice gets too brittle.
This is cold weather for this. You get too many cripples.
Cripples being, what do you mean?
You mean uneven, hardened shaped, broken blocks. When the temperature is about 10, 15 above, it's this time.
No such luck today, but they managed to haul out the chunks anyway, putting them onto a ramp, sending them down toward the palace, leaving behind a trail of steam. The wooden track needs no lubrication. The ice careens quite smoothly. The crane claws the bricks at the bottom, and they are set in place and secured with slush. For many of the workers here today, memories of winter carnivals past were quite vivid.
Well, that was old Alex Grasky cutting the ice for the 1937 Ice Palace off of Tanner's Lake. Pint of whiskey in each pocket, he handled that needle bar without any mitts on. 20 below zero didn't make no difference to him.
This year, the tradition will come back in high style since the palace promises to tower 150 feet above the lake. People can contribute to the effort by buying certificates for ice blocks for $10 apiece. At least 20,000 certificates will be for sale.
And the one thing they don't have to worry about is labor costs, because virtually all the workers that you see here are donating their time. I'm Greg Stone for Channel 5 Eyewitness News at the site of the Ice Palace.
And finally tonight, a true story that goes to show you that if you're honest, you may be rewarded, maybe have your name in lights, or at least have your name on a Kentucky Fried Chicken sign, like John Mose. Last week, John found a bank bag full of cash belonging to the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant in Richfield. He returned the bag to the restaurant and today was rewarded by franchise officials.
It's a great pleasure to meet you. It really is.
And what we did is we took and put some just papers into the bank bag. Then this is the identical bank bag that you found. And it gives me great pleasure to give you this check for $175 and my heartfelt thanks and appreciation. You're quite an example.
And that's an example that honesty does pay, especially when you do chicken right.
That's right, especially when you do weather right.
Well, let's do it right. The cold is over. Temperatures are going to be on the way up after midnight, and by tomorrow afternoon, not bad. There are going to be some few snowflakes in the air when you go to work. Windy and warmer, highs of 19 to 24. Won't feel it, though. Wind chill's a little bit below zero.
Okay. Well, you're
close
getting in
enough.
the right
We're getting
direction. Thanks for joining us tonight for the update. Now wake up on Eyewitness News Morning for a full hour of the latest news, live morning rush hour traffic reports, all the day's weather. Wendy Lubavitch, Frank Somerville, and the rest of our morning news team will have it for you between 6 and 7 a.m. That's right before Good Morning America.
And we thank you for sharing your evening with us. Good night.
Good night.